Chapter 28. I hate politics. Eren thought flatly. Yes, Pendragon-sama. The man before him speaks with an exuberant voice as he shook his hand vigorously. It's really nice that we both have the same view of how handling things around here. Unlikely, I never said I agree with your view, I just spin the words in here and there, you make your own assumption that I agree with you. Eren did not say that aloud, of course, he simply put a reassuring smile and allows him to do so while giving firm yet also unharming grip, of course Kaiden-san. He replied, it is quite eventful to chat with you in person. And he is not lying, it was eventful but in a negative way. I will see you again later then? Yes. He gives Eren small smile, I will see you again later. He stated, and feels free to visit my estate Pendragon-sama, I'm sure I can provide you with some entertainment or culinary, why I have this chef that very skilled. Is that so? The idea of food is quite tempting but unfortunately, he already has Rem filling that spot so his bribe won't work, I will check my schedule then. And my daughter also want to meet you. He chuckled, she quite eager you know. She also learning like you but you are clearly far better, I would be very grateful if you can help her. Yeah. Of course, offering your daughter hand to me, I see that coming from miles away, what a very cliché offer. Eren thought dully at least he has the decency to try to bribe him using food since it means he knew he is fans of unique cuisine, if not then. I will see if I can help. Eren said politely, have a good day Kaiden-san. The man bid him farewell as well before leaving the room, as he did Eren let out small sigh and slumped slightly in his seat. It has been few days ever since their return from Priscilla's mansion and parading the horns of Hakugi to the capital. And by doing so also reveal his and Emilia existence to the world, a man who has blood of their god, and called as demigod, and the woman who looks carbon copy of the devil that had nearly ended the world 400 years ago. What makes it more shocking is apparently said the demigod supporting the carbon copy of the devil to be king. There's no riot, chaos, or massive negative reaction from people thankfully. It seems Emilia managed to give some impression when she presents herself to the people, the fact she stopped to help a boy who injured at that time also helping her image to the public. Not to mention the fact Emilia is beautiful and look like angel, no kidding, Eren himself was a bit enraptured by her beauty when we first meet, no wonder Subaru fell for her, make people hard to believe she is that awful. Appearance is always what people seek when they first meet someone after all, and Emilia clearly make the best first impression on public. To be honest, recalling it Eren also find himself was quite odd at how she carries herself, and it makes him proud too that he playing part to make her like that. But of course all good things have their own price. For one, apparently revealing his existence in such manner is attracting attention very much, albeit that also one of the reasons why they did that, they need the positive fame after all, and thus people want to see him, meet the legend personally, especially the civilian representation, etc. Naturally, Eren can reject them all but it will result in another negative impact which will make him regarded as rude or something like that, not to mention people can make the wrong assumption about it, so he has to accept their request. Sometimes the more famous you become, the easier you fall. I fucking hate politic. Eren thought dully. He glanced at the room that given to him, it was big, far more big and colorful than the one he had in Roswaal's manor. The decoration also looks more regal and expensive. He must say really suit the image of medieval and royalty in very good way. If it wasn't obvious then let us point it, right now Eren is not in Roswaal's mansion, he is in Castle of Royal Kingdom, the main castle of Lugnica. Why he here and not going home? Because he was offered to live in here, and he accepts it albeit only temporary, the Sage Council want him to live in here permanently as matter of fact but he refuse it, with intention to look around. He accepts the offer because he wants to see what he can find in this kingdom, he wants to see what this castle have, he wants to find what in name of God that was damn wrong with this universe. He is not in canon. That much was obvious, or at least he is in canon but he was not the only outsider that come to here and thus their presence alter this world. He can't decide between them because no one knows save for Tepe what the true nature of the witches and this world is. He remembers that in one of interview he stated there being like a god in Zero verse, they do exist, they just never make their appearance in story. Not to mention he just meet one a few days ago. Unfortunately, and fortunately, Emilia and Rem can't stay with him, the former was not allowed, not officially but they make their disapproval to be quite visible since she is one of royal candidate and Rem is simply a maid that works for her. They can if he pressed and he doesn't think there will be impactful negative backlash but Emilia doesn't want that, she said she doesn't want to be treated special and want to play fair. She doesn't want to live in the castle, not yet at least. He admitted it kind of honorable and fair for her to thought so. As for Rem, Truthfully, it took quite an effort for Aaron to convince her to leave with Amelia back to the mansion. She insists to stay and serve him like always, but he points it to her that Amelia can't be left alone, not after what just happened, even if we save now, but who knows what kind of thing which cult will do in future. Of course, that was not entirely the real reason. The truth is he's still kind of confused how to act to Rem ever since she confesses her feeling to him. What he means is, he is really flattered, honest. Aaron was also one of Rem's supporter and like her quite a lot, but this is entirely different matter. Yeah, he is avoiding her right now. Sue him, he can deal with enemy, but woman's heart is something else. Knocks from the door halted any further thought he has. He straightened his back slightly and said aloud, yes? Pendragon same, this is your servant Celia. Ah, Celia, yes, the maid, come in. He called. The door opened and the person enters the room with a trolley that carrying books. She was a woman in her early 20s perhaps, having light brown colored long straight hair. She clad in maid uniform that not unlike Rem's and Rams usually wore, except the style is a bit more stylish and seems extravagant. She is the maid of the royalty after all, so that can't be helped. I bring all the books you requested, she said, gesturing to the pack of books that laying on the trolley. Everything that related to the history of this kingdom was here. Aaron gives her polite smile. Thank you, Celia. The long brown-haired maid smiled back benevolently at him. Always Pendragon-sama. She replied graciously, is there something else you need? A refreshment or food? He put a thoughtful face for a moment. The tea would be good, with 2 sugar cube. I will be back with them, she said while giving small bow and leaving the room. Aaron shook my head slightly. The maids in here, all of them seems quite eager to serve him, and Celia is not exclusion. Perhaps it because his good look, he is not being narcissist in here. This is Saber's face he wore, and one thing for sure, he is pretty handsome, don't deny it, or they were ordered to be like that, so he wants to stay here permanently. I fucking hate politics, Aaron thought flatly. Back to the track. Lugnica is one of the most famous kingdoms in history, one that directly related to what happened 400 years ago. And what better place to search for them other than in Castle of the Kingdom itself? Well, there Beatrice's library and Echidna's Book of Wisdom, but those two not available right now, the latter probably impossible to achieve, not without letting Echidna free at least, and Aaron have no intention to do that. So he accepts the offer to stay in Castle, digging through their library and read many things about the history. Yes, you got that right, read. It wasn't secret that Aaron not familiar with the language of this world. They're using Greek, language that considered as dead one and only used on few occasion. True, he already learned how to write and read one with Rem's help, but it's still not enough though. There is no way he able to master a whole new language only in 2, or was it 3, months? Or at least that was what he thought. The 10th Sword Saint Victor Van Istria and the Rebellion of Wallachia, the new agreement of Sword Saint and the royal family, the history of the 21st king, Vinsmoke Lugnica. He frowned and put the books back. Inwardly he let out a frustrated sigh. So far he can't find any information that related to what happened 400 years ago acutely. Most of the things he get is vague and like a riddle, many also already known too. To be honest, he was very shocked when he found out he can read this world's language very good. Not perfect, but let's just say it almost like his native language. He still has a bit problem with writing, but reading? Not anymore. It was strange. He just realizes that he able to read something that written in whole different language 2 days ago. It was never crossed in his mind, it as if the language was natural for him, it as if he already recognized it and his brain decide to auto-translate it or something like that. It as if they were there. They were in his mind since the beginning. It was like language that you learn in childhood or something like that. He doesn't know how to explain it in a words. To be honest, ever since his first death, there are many things that bothering him, so much to the point they become the reason why he having a hard time focusing to find information about the past. What happened after I died? He murmured aloud unconsciously as he held his temple. Something has happened to him, not to the world but him privately. It wasn't obvious and visible, but now he has free time and alone, he can think quite clear. Before or after he died something happened. Could it be the Cthulhu did something to him? That monster already become something that was above normal god with all divine protection and mana that he ate. He is maybe not as powerful as the real one, but it doesn't change the fact he's still godlike entity in his own blasphemous way, so it not impossible for him to. He closes my eyes, taking a deep breath, then began to recall what actually happened. He tries to remember when that thing probes his mind, when insanity. Laughter bubbled up to his throat, yellow eyes glimmering with sadistic glee as the man stand alone, fighting desperately with his sword, trying to usher away all the beasts that surround him and her family. It was for naught as he falls in the end, and the beasts reach for his wife and daughter, then began to strip there. His hand quickly met his forehead as unbearable pain sheared through his mind, and he let out a hiss. He buckled in his seat and have to prop over in table so his head did not crash to the desk. He clenches shut his eyes and grits his teeth tightly, holding back scream as his head throbbing with burning sensation that seems familiar strangely. Fortunately for him, as soon as it appears, though as soon it gone as well, leaving him breathing heavily. What the fuck was that? Aaron thought while trying to regain his composure. What is actually dash? The knocks that come from the door once again halted his further thought. His eyes quickly snapped to their direction before he scans his surrounding and grimaced. Not good. Apparently when he hit the table it makes some of the books scattered and fall. He quickly straightened his back, holding the phantom pain that lingering in his head, and pick up the books. Come in, he yelled as he put them back on table. The door opened to reveal Celia once again, her trolley this time carrying teapot, cups and food as well, not heavy, just light one. Pendragon-sama, I bring your tea and some small foods. I know you didn't order it, but I think they will make the tea taste better, she informed with a smile. Then she put puzzled face at the books that scattered in the ground. Does something happen, Pendragon-sama? Nothing, my knee just hit the desk when I about to stretch it. Aaron lied smoothly, and thank you for the foods. Celia gives nod as she pushes the trolley to Aaron's direction before approaching him and start to pick the books in ground. You don't have to. Nonsense, I'm your servant, Pendragon-sama, this is just to be expected, she replied swiftly as she put the books on his desk. Aaron merely quirked his eyebrow at the maid. He decides to not protest anymore since he knew it will result nothing. Is this all the books that related to history? He asked, changing the topic. No, not really, there's still a lot, but this all is what the sage council and other noble often read about history, Celia answered. There are also few books that not placed in the library and stored in somewhere else, but you may have to ask permission from sage council to access them, Pendragon-sama. Permission from the council? It will take more time, even if he goes directly to McMahon. Not to mention the time it will take when searching for the books or information he wants to. He has to go back to the manor. He already takes quite an amount of time. There are still many things he need to accomplish privately without being watched by nobles and elders or other people. Installing caster class card and take his gift, for example. Shall I arrange the meeting, Pendragon-sama? Celia asked. No, it's not necessary, Aaron answered. Just do everything as scheduled. I have to return to Arlem village tonight. Understood. Celia nodded. Then you also going to the city this afternoon? Yes, but I don't want to be seen, so prepare recognition obstruction robe. His face not hidden after all. The moment he steps onto the city, he sure as hell people will gobble him like a fish swarming pieces of bread. By your wish. He has something to do in capital, one that quite important and only can be done when he alone, without Rem or Amelia accompanying him. It can be said that thing is also one of the reasons why he agreed to stay in capital alone without them pestering him. But first, Aaron glanced at the pile of books with wry look. I have to finish all of this. There is no way he can read this much books in a matter of hours. Gods, he already read quite a lot in last few days, but there's still this many. Maybe he could borrow few of them and finish it later. A girl with long red hair, dark blue eyes and pale skin? Yes. I nodded at him. She is about this tall. I make a gesture with my hand. She is pretty, and usually carrying her merchandise. The man before me put thoughtful face and rubbed his chin, his eyebrow narrowed in concentrating manner for a moment before he shook his head. Nope, sorry, doesn't ring any bell. The pseudo-saber frowned at the answer. How could it be? Tiar seems like someone who always wandering around here and there, so how could no one know about her? Granted the capital is big and there are about 300,000 people living in here, but... Tiar. Where are you? I muttered. It seems I was loud enough as the man who looking at me in questioning manner blinked, his confused face turned to understanding. Tiar. You mean, Tiar Estella? It was my turn who blinked and shoot him look Estella. I don't know that one. Is there another Tiar? Now I recall, I never knew her last name. Could it be her? Or is it another person? Always yelling her merchandise and can be a bit clumsy sometime. Yep, that's her alright, no question. You know her name but doesn't know what she looks like. I deadpanned. The shop owner has the decency to look sheepish at my remark. Sorry, I got distracted moment ago. He stated anyway, you want to meet Estella-san, yes? Yes. Well, Estella-san is a cheerful girl, however she is a bit busy lately. Busy? Yep. He nodded, she got promoted or something like that, she no longer sells her own merchandise but other too, she works for merchant group. Huh. That was surprising. Not bad but surprising. Do you know what the cause is? I asked. He scratched his head, I don't know the details, but it's something about her previous co-worker's boss that died and then her friend got promoted, he asks for her help to manage things after that. Co-worker's boss? What he? Oh. Oh. She comes to my village not alone, wasn't she? She originally supposed to come with Ketty, or was it Kenny, the man who secretly was a cultist of witches cult. Ketty was also Otto Suwon's boss, I killed their group and thus that branch become empty. Otto probably got promoted and he asks Tiar for help to manage things since that branch becomes new. I did damage the caravan and kill all those people but there's still few goods that usable. Do you know where she is? Sure, you go straight that way, you take the right turn after that, just go further and look for the store that has pack of flowers in their entrance. I briefly stare at the area he pointed then I give him small nod, thank you, sir. You're welcome. I walk to the direction he told me, I grip the recognition obstruction robe a bit tight and pull it, making sure it won't loose or something like that, don't want the people to swarm me after all. I don't think Tiar will appreciate it that I visit her openly and make her this city's center of attention. Not only that will bring problem for her but me as well, I don't want baseless rumors spread around after all. And visiting her while I'm alone also the best decision because I don't think Rem or Amelia would react positively. Especially the former, granted she maybe accept it but I just feel it will be awkward for me. It wasn't long before I find the place that shopkeeper told me. I observe the shop that not far from my position. 2 stories tall that built by a mixture of woods and stones with simple design and colorful flowers in the entrance as decoration. Their stall open as well and bags that filled with variety of vegetable, fruits and flowers. I notice there 2 people inside the shop, man and woman. The man has dark purple colored hair with short style and look in his early 30s, wearing a simple ragged sleeveless t-shirt with brown pants and sandals. The woman just like him, in her early 30s probably and have straight hair with light brown color that reaches below her shoulder, she wearing simple yellow t-shirt and pants that topped by apron and also wore gloves. I feel quite confused as I discreetly stare at them. Are they Tiar's parent? I don't see the resemblance, not at all. They do not look like her. Relative perhaps? I approach the shop, deciding to act rather than keep observing. The man notices me coming and he welcomes me, hello, sir. Is there something that gets your attention? He asked as he gestured to the goods in front of me. Not really, I come here to have talk with Tiar-san. I said. Tiar. He blinked, once, twice and put questioning look for a moment, yes Tiar. That girl, yes, she is in the home right now. He said with a smile, then he narrowed his eyebrow, and who are you, sir? What business you have with my nephew? Nephew, not parent, not surprising somehow. I'm her friend, my name is Aaron. I replied politely, you can ask her if you want, she knows me. Right. He gives stiff nod before turning to the woman, Carol. He called. She, Carol, turned to him, she shoots him a questioning look before walk to us, yes, Jean? She asked. Keep an eye to the goods for a moment okay? I want to call Tiar above. Tiar. She blinked, oh, sure. Jean give another nod and enter the house. Carol turned to me and smiled, does Jean being rude? She asked, I'm sorry, he usually not like that, but if it related to Tiar he can be a bit overprotective. I smile back at her from beneath my robe, I know she can't see it but hey, at least I tried, and give her nod, it's okay, he wasn't that bad. She let out a small chuckle, your friend with Tiar I take it. Friend. She is more than a friend. She has helped me quite a lot. Yes, I owe her quite much. I answered. Really? I'm glad then, Tiar is also dear to us. Carol replied. I can see that. There sounds of footsteps from behind Carol, sound of someone running, I look over behind the woman and see familiar shade of red appear. Aaron-san. She called, voice filled with surprise. Hello, Tiar-san. I greeted back, can I come in? Sure. Tiar nodded, she seems a bit reluctant, I wonder why. Come in, come in. She gestured with her hand. I stepped into the shop, giving small bow to Carol to be polite, Jean though glaring at me from behind Tiar, and he steps forward. Listen, young man, Tiar is dash. Jean Jizan, not again. Tiar groaned, please don't do this again. She said with exasperated face. I just did the right things. I'm trying to protect you here. You do not protect me, you scare people, don't you remember what happened to Otto-kun? I didn't do anything to him. You stab sword in between his legs. Uncle, you make him faint. I held back snort as I heard the tale. I recall what I know about Otto-suan and I smirked. Yeah, it wasn't hard to imagine it. Beside, I don't think you will scare this one so easy. She murmured, anyway, don't bother us, okay? Come on, Aaron-san. She said as she took my hand and started to drag me. I give nod to Jean as I walk past through him. He responded with glare and I snickered inwardly. You have to do better than that to scare me, seriously. As I allow myself dragged by Tiar, I pull back my hood to reveal my face and began to look around the house. It wasn't bad actually, but it also not good. Judging by the couch and other types of furniture, Tiar's family is not rich, they're 2 or 3 level above average at least. Tiar led me to above through stairs, she then opened one room, her room my guess, and pulled me inside. Aaron-san, wait here, I will go make some drink for you. She said. This time it was me who took her arm, prevent her from going. Hey, it's not necessary. I replied, I just come here to have small chat. Will be better with a drink. Fine, only a water, I don't want to bother very much. After you kill the Hakugiai and Demon Lord? Tiar seems quite amused at my reply. Demon Lord? That was a new one, where it comes from. Touché. I said dryly. I'll be back soon, meanwhile take a seat and relax. Tiar offered with a smile, then she put a sheepish face as she realizes there's no enough seat, you can sit in my chair or bed. She said before she went out. I stare at the closed door for a moment before shrugging. I tilt my head and look around. Man, what with girls in this world and bringing men to their room? Isn't it supposed to be privacy or something like that? Different world, Aaron, different rule. The room was simple and plain. To be honest, it was just like I expected. I circling the room, looking over the shelf, there few books in there. I turned and stare at the desk, I noticed their bundle of papers and books as well, I approach it and sneak a little peek. This is accountant book. Or at least something like that. There's also plan and list of stocks. Huh, she is quite dedicated, isn't she? I, myself also accountant and... Who? You look enjoying yourself. I tensed as familiar voice reaching my ears, turning around, I put slight sheepish expression at Tiar who carrying tray with 2 cups and bottle of water while smiling. Sorry. I apologized, that was very rude of me. It's okay. She said as she put the tray to the table and sit in bed, so how are you, Aaron-san? I'm doing fine, I did not went unscathed against Hakugiai and the... Demon Lord? It's not Demon Lord. More like extraterrestrial evil god, but... Let's just say it is something that abnormal. She tilt her head and shoot me look, I make sure I reply hers by my own that said to drop the topic. Even if it was only pale copy of the real one, but it's better to not talk much about it. But you're fine in the end, right? She asked again and I nodded, I'm glad. How about you? I asked back, I heard you work with the merchant as well now. Yes, how do you know that? I heard it when asking people your address. I see. Why she seems to hesitate or uncertain about that. Well, yeah, I take another job. Tiar said with a smile, I helped Otto-kun, he is the one who got promoted and he needs all help he can get right now. I see. It was good things actually, from having to walk around and opening a store to a manager that handling goods and stocks of each place, I guess congratulations are in order. I chuckled. Thank you, Aaron-san. If you need something, anything, and I mean anything. I emphasize the anything word while making gesture, just contact me. It won't be necessary, Aaron-san. She replied with shake of her head. No, it is not unnecessary. You will need help in future, trust me, your branch right now is almost like a new with all the group got killed by which cult. I told her neutrally, and new group will always need help from higher in future, trust me. No matter how professional someone in handling things like this, they will always need help from someone in high stature, even if it only small. I know this personally from my father's story, and when that time comes, ask me, come to me, I will help you as much as I can. Eren-san. She seems still hesitate, but I swiftly cut her. Don't call me that. I shoot her tender look. You can call me just by my name, Eren. You deserve that after what you have done for me. I said kindly. To be honest, I come here to express my gratitude to you, to what you have done when we were talking in that village. She stares at me for a moment, her face neutral and calculating, then she gives me a smile. If I allowed to call you just by name, then you can do the same to me. She stated, as for helping you, I only give you a pointer, you did the rest. You did more than. I replied firmly, Tiar, what you did, what you give to me. If it weren't for you, this world already doomed, Cthulhu, would run rampant and kill anyone, nothing can stop him after he consumes Reinhard, not even Gaia herself. You give me the courage, you give me the strength. All of them already exist within you in very first place, Eren. She replied, you did everything by yourself, all I pointed is deep inside your consciousness. Be that may, it doesn't change, it was you who bring them out. I rebuked, bravery and wisdom is useless if they not used, you make me use them, and for that. I step forward and grasp her arm, I stare directly into her eyes, hoping for her to catch my sincere gratitude through my eyes. You have my eternal gratitude. It was this woman who was there when I'm at my lowest. It was this woman who brought me out from my despair. When everything was dark and shrouded in fear, she was there, she raised me up, she helped me, giving me advice, making me see the smallest glimpse of light in endless blackness. And not just in there, even before that, when we met for the first time, she helped me, she give me courage and open my mind, she makes me see my arrogance and flaw, my overconfident that make things become bad. I owe her a lot. I owe her more than I owe anyone in this world. Is that so? Tiar looked overwhelmed by my behavior, judging from her wide eyes and uncertain face. I can't tell, does she dislike or elated by it? I don't know what to say, to be honest. She said in an unsure voice, her dark blue eyes meet mine, then she shifted her gaze to our hands that intertwined together, her face flushed a bit, a little privacy for now might be. Realizing I was too close to her comfort, I feel my cheeks warmed, I release her hand and take few steps back. Sorry. I apologized, face slightly red. Her pale cheeks also adorned with red hue as she replied, it's okay. There's silence appear between us after that, I don't know how she fares, but I clearly looking at anywhere but her direction. Gods, I feel embarrassed as I realize what just happened. Holding hands and saying such thing, it like I'm trying to propose her or something like that. Way to go, Eren, way to go. Eventually, I decide to break the ice by changing the topic, for now, and ask her what I had in my mind. I'm surprised. Surprised? She blinked. At what? At you. I stated, you do realize who am I, right? You know my true nature. I asked rhetorically. She blinked again while tilt her head slightly, letting her dark red hair to fall a bit, then she makes understanding face. Yes, the parade few days ago pretty much telling. She answered with a smile, and you curious why I'm not. React too much, right? Yes. Tiar maybe know that I'm some kind of noble or knight when we first met, however the truth is I'm more than that, and to normal people, it wasn't something that can be shrugged easily. I know that because Rem and Amelia clearly treat me differently after that, the moment they know what am I, even if the change only small. I know that because had I'm in their position I would treat myself differently as well, after all I'm like object of their worship after all. It because I knew when we first met you are more than what you appear to be. She answered softly, when I lay my eyes on you, when we met at the top of Capital's entrance, I knew that you're someone who destined to be a great person. How? I asked, how do you know that? I don't know, to be honest, I also confused. She answered, her manner become slight sheepish, it was strange. It just, when I saw you, I knew that you're very important, that you're a great person, and in future, you will become someone big. I narrowed my eyebrow at her. That was strange indeed. Effect of charisma perhaps? Not impossible if you try to think about it. I mean, despite its effect never mentioned much, but charisma is actually quite powerful skill. It was charisma that allows Iskandar to make Waver become his retainer and make him grow into Lord Elmeloy too after all. It was charisma that makes Rin and Shiro enraptured in awe when they met Saber for the first time. That's still not explain why I treat you as if nothing matters. She asked rhetorically with a giggle, don't take it wrong Eren, it matters, what you truly are, it is an important thing, it will never change. She told me, and despite you not care much about it, but I can tell you don't like it for some reason. She is right, quite right in that regard. Truthfully, I'm not one who turns aside from fame. I don't dislike it and I will welcome it gladly. However, the fame I got right now, I don't like it. While I will embrace it, but I don't like it. Not much, mind you, but it's still there. Perhaps it because this fame will only make me harder to go home, or perhaps it because the fame I got right now is not real, a fraud. I get this fame and not completely through my own hands. I'm famous because of this body, Saber's body, instead my own. I'm not stupid. I understand that this body is not mattered much. What the most important is I achieve it through my mind, pure mind and experience. But does it change the fact because of this body I become very careless recently? Because I'm confident in my strength, I make many mistakes. I shrug off threat and not look at things very carefully. I become arrogant and prideful to the point it makes me look like idiot. So yeah. My achievement. It's great without a doubt, but the mistake also great. But is it matter? Tiar asked, her voice break me out from my stupor. Even if you're demigod, the son of the great dragon, you are still Eren. You're the same person I met when you look burdened by the world with bleeding nose at the gate of capital's entrance. She stated. She stood and placed her hand on my chest, smiling kindly while doing so. It's matter to the world that you're son of the great dragon, but to me? You're only Eren Pendragon. I feel my eyes widened as I heard her statement. I stare at the dark blue orbs that reflect nothing but kindness. I feel my body went slack for a moment and I ever heard saying butterflies fly in your stomach? I think I just experienced one. They're a huge amount of relief and joy. I don't know why, but what she said. It as if they're invisible heavy burden that just lifted off from my shoulder. You told me that you feel very grateful because I help you. Tiar continued with unchanging tone, I'm very glad that you perceive my help in that way. For you, perhaps it was the one that make your life become better, but for me? I just helping a friend. She said, and if you want to return what I did, then you can promise me one thing. Promise? I blinked, snapped from my daze. I squinted my eyes and give her solemn face. I won't said exaggerate things like I can do anything, but if it in my power, then yes, name your request. Make this world into a better place. I stared and stared. Despite I can't see my reflection, but I'm sure my face must be making quite an expression. And yet, Tiar still stare at me with serious face, their touch of tenderness and kindness in there, but at same time their steel and strength as well. What are you? I asked, an angel. Because seriously. From the way she talks, the way she carries herself, the way she smiles. Gods, this girl like a personification of kind word. Tiar blinked, once, twice. Then she let out a giggle and pulled herself back, her eyes filled with mirth. I assure you I'm not angel. I have my indecent moment. Right, like when you told me to said, fuck you, to the dash. I told you to not mention that anymore. She cut me quickly with a whine, her arms flailing a bit in a frantic manner. I laughed at her antics, pure of joy and amused laugh. Truthfully, in last few days I staying here, I never laughed like this. Sorry. I said with a grin, I can't resist. You repay my kindness with this, Eren, you really something else. Wow, you expect some payment by act kind to other. I'm surprised. I'm not going to expect much in return when helping someone, but she gives me a glare. It was cute in my opinion, I'm not that selfless, you know. She huffed, you will make your promise or not? Alright, I promise. I chuckled, I will make this world into a better place. I might be want to leave from here, but there is no way I will let this world pummeled into chaos. After I done making Emilia proper king and make Ludnica better, then I will leave. As matter of fact, I already did by killing Hakugiai, who had terrorized this world straight for 400 years. Good. She said, smiling with satisfaction as she crossed her arms like she just winning very big argument against God himself. I feel my lips twitched upwards slightly, so. Now what? Now. Help me with my books. I blinked, what? My books. Tiar walked to the table and gestured to her paperwork, you're good with this, aren't you? I have experience. I said uncertainly. Good, help me with these. She gestured to her works, I'm a bit confused in few parts. Are you bipolar or something? Seriously, one moment she looks like angel that want nothing but care about the world, but next she becomes commanding girl that look like want to use someone to her advantage or something like that. Bipolar? Never mind, I'm gladly going to assist you. I said with sigh, maybe I'm just overthinking it. And so we talk, converse about Merchant of Lugnica and their works, we discuss the goods and the economic state further, more than I had learned with REM. We spend hours until sun goes down from the sky discussing many things. And in the end, I can't help but find it to be very enjoyable. Welcome back, Eren-sama. Rem greeted in kind and cheerful voice, how the ride from capital? She asked. Eren, who has just got out from the carriage, rolling his shoulder and cracked his neck. Unpleasant, so do my stays in that castle. Eren deadpanned, I have very limited freedom in there. He did not lie, his stays in there is not pleasant, he only able to enjoy himself to the fullest when he was spending time with Tiar. Gods, that woman really good company, shame she not live in the village. It has been few hours ever since he finished spending time with Tiar. After he done with her, he returned to the castle to meet with Miklatov McMahon and said goodbye to him as he goes back to Roswaal's manor. Remembering the old man make Eren inwardly smiled, Miklatov really wise and have grandfather aura around him, no wonder he is favorite among the other sage council. Rem understand. The blue-haired maid nodded, it's really the best to stay in here, with Rem to take care Eren-sama, yes? Eren stared at the blue Oni with flat look for a moment before he shakes his head, lips twitched slightly to upward. Yes. He admitted, while the maids in there weren't bad but... It certainly can't beat you. He was being honest here, Rem is still the best maid. That apparently the right response judging by Rem's eyes that widened, she then put big, and smug, can't forget smug, as matter of fact this is the first time Eren see her put that one, grin and puffed her chest. Of course. They hold no candle to Rem. She declared. She then steps forward and go to behind him, started to push him forward, come Eren-sama, Rem shall make sure Eren-sama remember how proper maid serves their lord. No need to be that extreme. He said with a sigh, he knew that Rem only joking, he really hopes so, but she should phrase her words better for God's sake. The innuendo and double meaning of her words. As he enters the manor, he immediately saw familiar half-elf who smiled the moment she saw him. Eren. You're back. Emilia greeted, her beautiful face confronted to smile. Eren smiled back without hesitation, happy to see his friend after a few days. Hello Emmy, how were your days? He asked gently. Emilia paused in her steps, her eyes widened and her smile frozen for a moment. Then much to Eren's confusion, her face suddenly turned to red. I. The blonde blinked, once, twice Emmy. I'm fine. She squeaked as she starts to fidget in where she stood. Eren narrowed his eyebrow and stepped closer to the half-elf, observing the girl, you sure? Emilia snapped her face up and about to reassure him but paused and found the man only inches away from her, her face become redder and she let out another squeak. I gotta go see you tomorrow. Without giving the pseudo-saber any chance to speak, the half-elf bolted from where she stands, leaving him confused more. What the heck was that? Eren asked in puzzled voice. Seriously, what the hell was that? That kind of behavior. That was so illogical and strange. There giggle from behind him and he turned to see Rem have amused expression, her eyes filled with mirth. Something you want to share? Eren inquired. Rem let out another giggle, there's nothing wrong with Emilia-sama. She just learned the difference between men and women. Eren blinked again, his mind processing what the Oni said for a moment before his eyes widened, you mean? Yes, Rem just finished explaining how to make a baby to Emilia-sama this afternoon. Oh. Well. He doesn't know what to say about that. Seriously, he does not. He, himself actually learned the difference between boy and girl from internet and friends. His world is modern one after all, and while it's true their awkward moment, he remembers how his first crush goes and by the god, it was embarrassing, but it's still not that bad for their world, even 11 or 12 years old already aware how baby come from. And God forbid, there even some that trying. You. What a mess. But in here. In this backward world. He wonders how it works. Perhaps it was as embarrassing as many people portray in fanfiction or novel if Emilia react like that. And is there any particular reason why you just explain it today instead a few days ago? He asked dryly. Rem afraid Rem don't know what Eren-sama trying to say. Rem answered innocently complete with angelic smile that befitting her benevolent face. Eren does not buy it. Not at all. Just what Rem trying to do actually. Seriously, he can't get a good read on this girl. No, He can in reality, but the reasons he found was ridiculous and absurd, quite out of character from her. So I don't see Ram, Aaron commented as he looking around. He might still not fix their relationship in this timeline, but he working on it right now. Hearing her big sister mention Rem's smile dimmed, she put concerned expression. Ne-sama is currently not well. Not well? She's sick? Aaron asked, voice laced with small concern. Aaron-sama can say so. Ne-sama has been feeling unwell for few days and always retire early. She is currently sleeping in her room. The pseudo-saber narrowed his eyebrow, his face expressing worry. Can't Emmy or Beatrice-san heal her? It's not a physical condition, Rem said with hesitation and sadness in her voice. Rem, sorry Aaron-sama, but it was Ne-sama's privacy, so it's fine, I understand. Well, as long as it not threatening her health then it was fine, but what happened to her? Should he check on her? Maybe he should, tomorrow perhaps. By the way Aaron-sama, Roswaal-sama wished to meet Aaron-sama. Rem informed. Roswaal-sama currently is in his office. He paused in his step for a second after hearing that, his eyes squinted in a sharp manner. I see. He tried to make his voice nonchalant, but it still comes out sterner than he intended judging by Rem's muscle that stiffened for a moment. I will go to see his office directly then. Shall Rem accompany Aaron-sama? No need, just ready the bath, I will take one after I done. If Aaron-sama says so then, but can Aaron-sama promise Rem one thing? What is it? Please don't make a mess, it already late. Aaron holds back snort at that. Can't promise that one, sorry. He aware that the Oni know how he still disliked the man. She had seen him almost behead Roswaal after all, and right now he sure she want to follow him to make sure that not happen. Or she wants to help him crushing Roswaal. Very unlikely, but a man can hope, right? Then please promise to not make very much mess. That, I can promise you. Aaron reassured. The blue-haired Oni smiled at him and give nod. If it is too much then Rem shall punish Aaron-sama by tying Aaron-sama to Rem for this night. Aaron stared at the blue-haired maid with incredulous face, in response Rem only smiling at him in a benevolent manner. Right. He doesn't know what to say to that, honest, so he quickened his pace to Roswaal's office instead. I will see you later, he said as he noticed he was near. Yes. With that the maid parted from him, going to bathroom and intent to prepare the bath for him. Aaron stares at the maid for a moment and shook his head. Gods, what should he do to her? Aryam. Such a sweet girl she is, really. He banishes that thought away in flash. He has something important to do. He takes a deep breath once and release it. He stares at the door of the Roswaal's office and brace himself. The man had managed to escape from him, elude him, able to twist the truth with another one. Now he doesn't have anywhere to escape and truthfully Aaron is tired to play his game. It's time to be serious and this time there is no Puck to save the clown from him. He will get his answer, one way or another. He does not ask for permission or knock, he simply pushed the door open, entering the office, and as always Roswaal was there, sitting at his desk with smirk. Ah, Aaron-san, it's been a while since we talk. He said with his usual sing-song voice. How are you? I'm fine. Aaron grunted. Where were you when we busy dealing with witch cult? He asked, straight to the point. This is already quite late, he want to take bath and rest quickly. Officially? I was dealing with another noble that wishing for supporting us in backing Emilia-sama by offering few goods and some land. Roswaal answered easily, unofficially. I have to stay out during the day of ordeal. He said nonchalantly, smile plastering over his face. It takes everything Aaron have to not summon Excalibur and cleave the man in instant. He flared his nostril and clench his fist instead, his eyes leaking out mana and make them glowing. So you do not deny your relation with the witch cult anymore? He stated frostily. Relation? Please. Roswaal scoffed, no longer their sing-song or his usual cheerful tone in his voice. I'm almost insulted that you related me with those bunch of puppets. That's right, I forgot, you only have relation with a mad woman who obsessed with knowledge and have the personality that's similar to those puppets. Aaron can't help but smirk as Roswaal's lips curled down to scowl. The pseudo-servant can see the anger behind the clown eyes and it pleased him quite much. What? That was the truth and you know it, you just let your infatuation to cloud your mind. Aaron continued viciously. Perhaps in some way it was unwise to antagonize the magician, but right now he doesn't care. This man had caused enough problem for him with his scheme. She doesn't know what it means to be a human, she is blank, a sociopath who trying to mimicking human and fail miserably at that. It was clear that he did quite a job upsetting the magician, judging by how his heterochromatic eyes briefly glowing with eerie light, but the man is experienced enough to not let anger cloud his mind. And yet, that sociopath is the only reason you able to reach this far. Roswaal snarked back with smirk. Really? Aaron jeered with a snarl, is that what her book says about me? Are going to deny it? Roswaal asked again, his voice carry a hint of amusement, you knew that I have the gospel of my master, you knew what it is, you knew what my aim is, but never once you make a move against me. In flash Aaron has gone from where he stood and he was in front of Roswaal's desk, invisible sword was pointed few inches away from his eyes. I admit. Aaron growled, mana started to leak from his body, that I did follow your instructions so far because I need them and your existence is necessary for me. Killing Roswaal, who was the only person that backing Amelia at that time, was unwise. He needs Amelia and she needs Roswaal, but now, you're not important anymore, not with the political power that Emmy have. With him, who have many nobles and important people willing to answer his call at any moment, supporting Amelia, the half-elf now is one of the most powerful people in politic rank at Lugnica. Which mean there is no need for Roswaal existence anymore. Amelia can have all support she wants as long he stay with her. Right now you have nothing. Aaron said icily, he lower Excalibur from the magician's eye to his neck, you have nothing else to offer, nothing that can save you from me, you have no plan or scheme anymore, all was wasted the moment you put me in where I am now. He declared, and while it's true that killing you will bring problem, but I believe that is not something I can't handle with my position, so tell me, you body snatcher vermin. His voice become growl and Excalibur bite the apprentice of Echidna slightly, for what reason I should keep you alive. The royal magician simply stare at the demigod, glowing eyes, his face show nothing but calm and nonchalant expression despite he faced with possibly one of the strongest being in the world and also their holy sword that now digging his neck and drawing out blood slightly. The tension between them was thick enough to be cut by knife as the oldest magician in Lugnica stare at the current legend of the Dragon Kingdom, it as if both of them will explode into trading blows at each other soon. Then Roswaal did something that Aaron never expect. He chuckled. There's small confusion crossed in Aaron's eyes, but they're gone as soon as they appear. Why you laughing? He demanded. It just a bit funny, Aaron. Roswaal responded, his voice flippant as he tilts his face upward slightly and carefully to not injure himself by grazing the holy sword, while smirking, because from now on I'm going to help you with all abilities I have. Help. Me? Aaron repeated, then his eyes narrowed and he pushed his lips into sneer, like what you did until now. No, like really helping you. Roswaal answered, of course I still won't answer some questions, I have right to possess some privacy after all, but I do willing to help you to find a way for you to return to your homeland. Aaron went stiff for a moment at the last part, his eyes widen in small margin as he stares at the clown magician with disbelief. He quickly regains his composure and tightened his grip on his sword, you're lying. He hissed. In response to the accusation, Roswaal only chuckled again and he raises his hand, not need to be so tense, I just want to show you something. He said when noticed the holy sword start to dig further into his neck. After saying that he put his hand on under his robe and pull out some book, this book, you know what is this? Echidna's gospel book. Aaron whispered, his eyes glued to the ancient book for a moment before shifted back to Roswaal. Correct. The magician nodded, you said to me that right now I have nothing to offer to you, no more scheme or plan that can be used if you rebel against me. That actually correct, I don't have anything against you anymore because I don't need it. You don't need it? Aaron repeated in incredulous voice, what do you mean by that? Exactly just like I said, I don't need them anymore because I have nothing left to do. The way the man spoke. Somehow it sends chill to Aaron's spine. He doesn't know why but he feels like he's fighting a losing battle. Then Roswaal opened his gospel book, he flipped few pages and then show it to him. Aaron's mind went blank an instant as he saw what inscribed in there. Nothing. The gospel book. There is nothing written in there. Oh, make number 3, to achieve a miracle. Part 1, I curse you. I curse you with endless life. Forever you will walk in this deserted world. Knowing that all of this could be prevented had you not weak and stay firm with your goal. No despair, O hero, for you will never find peace until the end. Violet eyes snapped open in a frantic manner, followed by sharp intake of breath and small gasp that come out from her mouth. Her body jerked violently for a second and her hand went to Amelia-sama. Shout from familiar voice stop her from drawing her weapon out and her frantic movement stopped immediately. Her panicked eyes become dazed for a moment, she blinked and they regained their light, the pupils narrowed and focused to the blue eyes that stare at her with concern. Are you okay, Emilia-sama? No, she not, she is very far from okay. Ever since she lost him. She is never okay. But she does not voice it aloud. It's sad Ella. She said, correcting her friend, and I'm okay REM. The blue-haired Oni stared at her with analyzing gaze, then they softened and beautiful smile blossomed across her face. She doesn't voice it aloud because it was necessary, after all, the woman before her already knew that she is never okay. Emilia-sama will always be Emilia-sama to REM. She does not bother to correct her this time and only shake her head, she raises from her rest and cracked her neck, popping few joints by doing so. It's another nightmare isn't it? Rem stated then asked, which one if Rem may know. She was tempted to not answer it but she knew it was useless, in the end, Rem will always know and she will tell her, so she decides to cut it short. When he cursed me. She said, spitting the he word as much as she can. The blue Oni eyes widened slightly and they narrowed with sharpness, but only for a moment before they softened. Does it bother Emilia-sama very much? You know well it doesn't anymore. Emilia answered bitterly, while it always bitter and irritating but it has been so long. So no, it doesn't. Long doesn't even begin it already 200 years ever since their battle against Jormungandr. The victory. The victory itself is actually a miracle. Even until now Emilia can hardly believe that they won, that they survive against Jormungandr, that they can kill the monster and put end of his terror. It not like they don't believe they can't defeat that monster, what's shocking is that they able to kill the beast and survive afterward. No. No, our victory is a miracle but our survival. Their victory is indeed a miracle. It takes everything they have to bring down Jormungandr and deliver final attack using Excalibur. Rem was dying by that time, and she, herself very close to death door as well before unleashing the sword real power. They should be dead after that, there was no way they can survive, it was pretty clear but... They survive. They alive. No thanks to that monster. In his dying breath, he not even let them to have peaceful rest. With all powers he have, he cursed them, he gives his final spat, he healed them perfectly and not just there, he turns her to immortal, to ageless being that can survive even if her heart destroyed. It was so humiliating and disgusting, to be saved by him of all living being, of all existence, it was very insulting to her. And what worst, that wasn't act of goodness, that wasn't be done with good intention, oh no, not at all, it was curse, final, fuck you, from him to them. She is immortal and cannot die. So do Rem who bonded to her. And they forced to see the world slowly dead while there is nothing they can do to stop it. This world will end. It doesn't matter even if you able to kill me, it doesn't matter even if you put an end of my reign, this world already dead, the goddess has been killed, this planet will crumble. You are too late to stop me now. If only you did not hesitate to put me down when we fought in the first time. It might be survive. Loath to admit it. But that monster was right. That monster spoke the truth when he laughs at their face. The world is dead. And she doesn't mean it as proverb or metaphor, the world in a sense is really dead. There is no more life in this world. No more plants grow from the earth, no more green can be seen. No more demonic beast, they all died along the world when mana depleted fully from this plane. And human. Human and demi-human. There are only around 100 left perhaps or even less. And their numbers were decreasing with each month. Truthfully it was a miracle in her opinion that there's still survivor except them until now. That doesn't stop them to keep searching of course. They don't want to see people die. They don't want to see this world become barren land completely, empty from any life except for them. So they gather survivor, they search in every crook and side of the world for survivor, for foods and waters that's still available for their survival just like what they did right now. And truthfully, they are tired. It was a very long journey. The time spent, the struggle, and the legacy and ideals they burdened with. No matter how far they walked, how far they searching and lending hand, it never ends, it never stops, the distance did not close no matter what. And after 200 years of doing this, they're tired. So tired. Nothing is indestructible after all. No matter how durable a machine, no matter how colorful something that beautiful, no matter how powerful their will and spirit, all of them in the end still damaged by time. The beauty of colors slowly fade, machines slowly become rusty, will and spirit slowly dissipated, eaten by time that endlessly waiting for them. The only reason they could go on. is because they have one another. Supporting each other, reminding each other what they had in past and what burden they carry on their shoulder and why they should never give up. But even so, in the end time still erode their spirits, slowly but surely. But one thing that never eroded or even touched by time. Right now you have nothing, but in future you will. Just like children or infant, can they do anything to help their parent? No, but in future when they grow and become an adult, they can. Just like what I did to you now, I help you, support you, and if you want to help me back, Emmy, do that when you can stand on your own. It was their memory of him. It was his words. Why look at things that already happened? Why keep dwelling in them? Sure, it is good to do that if you want to learn something, but they're no use to bask in them. It will do nothing but keep hurting you. There is no need to keep pushing yourself. Ram never asked for it, and you know how it hurts her to see you like this. No one blames you. The world will always be cruel, we all have to find the strength to move on. Push it back. Stand on your feet, look to the front, and shove it back. Do not hesitate, do not waste your youth, move forward. Embrace every day with a smile, because right now your life is beautiful. Rem, stop blinding yourself with the past. So laugh, Rem, laugh. Laugh, because all suffering, the pain, everything you went through has birthed a beautiful bed of flowers that surround you. Right now, enjoy it with those who are waiting for you. It was the legacy and teaching that left by the greatest man they ever were known. Even 2 centuries has passed, his words never leave from their mind. So do their wishes to see his smile and heard his voice once again. You know. You two really one of the most hard-headed people I ever met. The half-elf and the Oni snapped from their journey when exuberant voice reaches their ears. They both turned with a fast pace and planned to counterattack if it was an ambush already formed in their minds. They come face to face with. You're not human. Rem commented, her nose twitched once, you reek of blood. The elder gentleman that stand before them merely smirked and tapped his cane once, his red bloody eyes peering over the duo who watching him warily. No need to be tense, you two, I'm not your enemies. He chuckled, I come here to tell you 2 story. Story? Amelia asked, voice a bit dry, I'm sorry but, who are you? And how you sneak on us? Where you come from? His clean and neat appearance. To be honest, it was hard to keep such appearance in this age, given the world situation, so you can't blame them to be quite wary and curious to the man. The old man simply smirked and tilted his head. You know, I remember once their miracle occur from 2 people who keep pursuing and waiting for each other. He said, ignoring the questions that given to him, no matter how terribly long they did that, and no matter how impossible it sounds, they still hoping and wishing to reunite with each other in the end, and so the miracle happened. The old man stares at them, his blood-red eyes seems piercing their souls, but that not make Amelia or Rem flinch. There is almost nothing that able to intimidate them after the battle they had gone through. The thing is, your miracle already occurs. You beat Jormungandr despite it was impossible, that thing is as nearly as powerful Tiamat, you know? And it takes so many heroes to kill her, but here. Only 2 of you. Granted he still does have a concept of death, but it's still very impossible to be done with 2 being, yet here you are, survive and healthy as ever. I won't call our condition to be healthy. Amelia said icily, now, would you answer our quest dash? But you know what? What your deepest desire, that miracle, I can grant it. He continued with a laugh, and frankly, I think I will give it as a gift for someone who has to stay strong for 200 years. The old man extend his cane to the space on his right, then he swings it down and the reality break under his power. What the? Amelia let out a gasp as she stares at the endless colors that swirling like a water in the sea in front of her. She had seen many things, this actually shouldn't surprise her. Pandora's ability to warp reality around her is already ridiculous enough after all. So no, this strange phenomenon is not surprising for her. What surprised her though? Magic. Rem breathed out with shock, magic. So much. It was mana that radiated from that portal. After dozens of years mana has been gone from their world, depleted and make this place decaying, and now for the first time after that long. They felt it. They felt mana once more, vast and enormous. Who? No, what are you? Amelia asked as she realized that the man in front of them is not simple old man. I'm only some traveler that passing by. The old man stated with a smile, this will bring you to your miracle. Miracle. Rem breath becomes deep. For the first time ever since very long time, she feels her chest so heavy. You mean? You have journeyed and went through so many things quite long. He stated, this will not give you that miracle, this will guide you to another one, the last one. He said, eyes shifted between the half-elf and the Oni, one last journey to get your miracle. When you arrive in there, you will know instantly what your situation and goal. He explained with mischievous voice, so how is it? Will you take it? Amelia and Rem stare at each other, sending silent message through eye contact. The bonds that they formed for 2 centuries is more than enough for them to converse with each other without talking. Then the half-elf shifted her gaze to the old man once again. How can we trust you? You don't. He answered bluntly, but again, why don't take little leap of faith? That what Hugh would say if he is in here, right? That appears to be more than enough to reassure them. They both walk toward the hole in space, entering it without hesitation or fear in their faces. As soon as they enter the portal, it was closed as if it never there. The old man himself chuckled and rubbed his beard with grin. Well, now, let's see heroes, can you achieve your miracle or not? He stated with mirthful voice. The old man tilts his head upward, to the sky, his red eyes squinted in a focused manner and he let out another chuckle. Well, time's up, I have to go before it's too late. With colors of kaleidoscopes shroud him, the old man also gone from this world, leaving only sparkle that soon dissipate as a sign that he ever exists. 5 hours later a meteor crashed to cosmos and extinguish every single life that exists in there and destroy the remnant of world's corpse. If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.